Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Non-League Nothing Natter for episode 19. Apologies, nothing last week. We planned to. Monday got away from us for whatever reason, I can't remember. Tuesday we were going to record if our game got called off. Thankfully, at least one of us had a game. You'll find out if we both did soon. And then Wednesday, I can't remember what happened, but in the end, we were just like, nah, stuff it, we'll leave it for this week and reconvene this week. So that's what we've done. So apologies. But we'll get cracking as there are 2, 4, 5 match reports this week. Some in-depth, some not so in-depth. So we'll start with last weekend, which was the weekend 16th of March, I want to say. Is that right?
That'd be right, yes.
Yep.
Did you have a match that weekend? Because I didn't that weekend. So if you want to start with that one, then.
I did, yes. So we know I'm with Tividale when they are playing this week. They were definitely playing because it was a 4G pitch. So we were away to Studley, who were sitting third in the league at the time. I don't know how many points there are, but they were third in the league. And as you know, Tividale last but one. So yeah, I missed the first 5, 6, 7 minutes or so. I was working in the morning, so I had to get buzz and a train across. A few transportation issues, traffic-wise and whatnot. Luckily, I would have missed most of the first half, but I managed to do a 15-minute walk across Birmingham in 7 minutes and walked onto the train as the door shut. So, hey, didn't miss too much.
That's all right then.
So what I did miss in those first few minutes, apparently there was a foul by Jack Perlman, one of Tividale's defenders, and Studley, from what I can gather on social media, from a fan more so than a club, because the club didn't tweet that much, they feel that he should have been sent off for a last man and what's known as a dogso, which is all of a clear goal scoring opportunity.
Right.
It was only booked. I didn't see it, so I can't comment.
Well,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. What else have we got here? Again, it's one of these games, not too much happened. Lewis was forced into a good double save about 10, 15 to 20 minutes in. Nothing in that. Not long after, Jack Tills chased the ball right down into the left-hand corner. It looked like a lost call, but he's got there. Unfortunately, he's got no support, so all he can do is try and hold it up and wait for the support. But by the time that's happened, Studley have managed to come back.
Right.
Callum Gillis then picked up the ball on the left, just inside Studley's half, drove it into the Studley box, but it wouldn't sit for him. It kind of just kept coming up, just running away from him a little bit. And by the time it did sit nicely for him, the defender managed to recover and block his shot. Tividale should have had a penalty for handball. It's one of the most blatant handballs you will ever see in your life. The Studley defender has scooped it away. Now, I didn't see it at the time because it was kind of on my blind side.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of it since, stills, but it's a photographer, so when I've took so many thousands of pictures a second or whatever it is, so it plays out like an old flicker book or stop motion film.
Yeah.
I've seen the photos, so it's how it's not being given is bit of a question. It's disappointing, and although we didn't see it, we had a feeling it was because of the defender's reaction. He's kind of stayed silent, looked at the ground, not making eye contact with the referee, looking around everywhere else where he can. You're like, that's a sign of a guilty player. But it wasn't given. And then right on half time, Jack Till and Callum Gillis are pressing really high, and they actually managed to block 2 or 3 clearances for Studley, but it just keeps bouncing back to Studley. And after the last block, Studley break and score, and it's 1-0 right on half time. Wouldn't say they don't deserve it. They have created chances, but then so have Tividale. I think that Tividale were unlucky to be in one down at the break, to be going in one down at the break. But yeah, bit harsh. But again, like I said, they've had chances. Then pretty early in the second half, there's a Studley cross from the left, from the right, and it's finished from close range, and it's 2-0. And that was that. You could see at that point the goal just before half time, goal just after half time has completely took the stuff in out of Tividale. From then on it was pretty poor from Tividale. I don't think they created anything for the rest of the half. But that wasn't it in terms of the scoring. Finn Holmes, I believe his name is, he's on, I think he's a Solihull Moors product, because Studley have an affiliation with Solihull, so they have quite a few there under 23s or under 21s, whatever it is. He's one of these. He picked the ball up in his own half and ran through the entire team basically and slotted it past Lewis. Really, really good solo goal. You look at it as poor defending, but then when you look at it, really, you think, is it really? Because he has the ball. It was like watching Messi, the way the ball stuck to his feet. It was one of those kind of runs where the defenders are falling over when he's nowhere near him. So I don't think it was as bad as we initially thought from a defensive point of view. It wasn't great, but there was a fourth. In all honesty, I can't remember what happened. It was, it was another one of those where we're like, the game's gone. We're half watching, half chatting. Do have to say that the referee was awful, completely awful. He was giving stuff nobody was seeing, wasn't giving things that everyone else was seeing. Every foul pretty much that Tividale made, he was pulling a card out. I don't think one Studley player got booked, and there was some tackles in there, fouls in there, which were worse than what Tividale players were booked for. He's just
inconsistent then.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't mind them being bad if they're bad across the board, but if they're inconsistent, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's what took the biscuit for us. The fact that he was booking our players for seemingly every foul. And then, like I said, there was ones that were as bad, if not worse, and he was like, no, it's fine, I'm just going to talk to him. Like, you're taking the piss. But yeah, so that's how that one finished. Studley 4, Tividale 0. No complaints. We went in that game not expecting much. Little bit disappointed with how they performed second half after the second goal. But then Studley are a very, very good side, playing on a 4G surface, playing football, moving the ball quickly. So, again, I don't think it was as bad as we potentially thought at the time. And even at the time, we said we didn't expect much from this game. The big one is our next game, as long as they put a shift in that next game, which we'll come on to in a minute, because I've just realised I've gone against what we said we were going to do.
That's all right. We'll do it in chronological order. It's simple. So
over to you for your first game.
So my first game was Tuesday. Tuesday, I was away for work down in the Salisbury area. So I thought I'd taken a match in the Wessex League Premier Division, which is Step 5. It was Laverstock Ford against Cowes Sports from the Isle of Wight. So Laverstock started the match in 6th place, Cowes Sports in 8th. Only a couple of points between them, both still in with a chance of getting into the playoffs. So quite a lot to play for at this back end of the season for this one. It was a misty night. It wasn't actually raining, but it was a heavy mist, and you could get wet if you stood out in it too long. So I still remember the one little bit of shelter they had in one corner of the ground for most of it. But anyway, so the game kicks off, and 5 minutes in, it's been a very good, energetic start from both sides. Laverstock's had 2 corners, both dealt with, and Cowes have had a long-distance strike from 20 yards out that went wide of the post. Coming on into 12 minutes up, and Laverstock have had 2 more corners by then. And they seem to have more attacking intent, but Cowes have just been doing good work down the left, and ended up with getting their first corner of the game after 12 minutes. But Laverstock dealt with that one easily. So once we get up on a bit, 20 minutes in, and Laverstock, good play down their left-hand side, headed in the box, went just wide of the post. Both teams are really going for it.
Yep.
20, 25 minutes in. They're both determined to try and win this, get 3 points on the board and keep their playoff dreams alive, which is good to see. It's making a really exciting match of it.
Mm-hmm.
So just before the half hour, Laverstock had a free kick where it was popped into the box and headed home, but unfortunately the linesman flagged for offside, so no goal. It was tight, but I think it was the right decision. So 38 minutes, Laverstock got a corner. No idea how they got a corner because it was crossed in by a Laverstock player. Nobody touched it, went straight out over the goal line, and somehow he's managed to give a corner. Everybody was absolutely incredulous. No idea how he gave the corner for that one, but he did anyway. Then just into first half injury time, Cows get a free kick on the edge of the area. It's for handball. Laverstock's number 18 arguing and shouting and moaning. Not for the first time. He's been quite vocal all match. Well, this was his. This is where he got his comeuppance for it because he was sin-binned. So off he went for 10 minutes. It was a good free kick. It went over towards the top right-hand corner, and the Laverstock keeper got across and got up for a great one-handed save. And they had 2 subsequent corners, but box control from the keeper, great. It meant we went in half-time 0-0. As I said, very good game so far. So we start off the second half. Laverstock still with 10 men for most of the first 10 minutes of the second half, really. Obviously, because he got simping just on half time. 47 minutes, corner to Cows, far post corner, a good header, and that came off the post. So they're trying to make their one-man advantage count at this point. 53 minutes, they've got a free kick 25 yards out. It was pumped in, it wasn't properly cleared. Crossed back in from the right, headed out again and volleyed from the edge of the area, and that one went just over. Soon after that, Laverstock get their man back. 2 minutes late, I must say, but he was allowed back on after lots of shouting from the touchline, saying, "Let me back on, it's been 10 minutes. Well, eventually it's 12 minutes, and he did get back on. 61 minutes, so we're on the hour mark, and Laverstock play it down the right. Decent cross, but the shot I can't get my words out. Soft and shot. The shot was a little bit soft, and the keeper got it easily. So we're still an hour into this match. There's still no goals, but it could have been 4-4. So 66 minutes, and Cows cross it in from the left. Really good take it down, turn and shot, and 1-0 to Cows. It was really nice bit of decent control in the area. Chested it down, turned and shot, bang, goal.
Please tell me
the same.
Please tell me all the fans moo when they score, because I just got a picture of Lee
on
the pitch. They
don't play in black with white spots on patches, and they don't moo when they score. No, sorry to let you down. But then we have a good 15 minutes of not an awful lot happening. Lots more attacking intent from both teams, but nothing coming of it. 83 minutes, Cows have a free header in the box, no defenders near him, and somehow he manages to put it wide. Doesn't even test the keeper. So he's running down the match now. We think we're going to get a narrow 1-0 win for Cows, which would take them above Laverstock in the table. But then on 89 minutes, number 11 on the Cows side, he was really quick down the left wing, except this time he was going down the right. So he seemed to swap sides depending on what he wanted to do. So he comes down the right, gets himself right into the box, good solo effort, good low shot, and keeper gets a touch on it, but he can't keep it out. 2-0. Minute later, just after the kickoff, Cows get the ball again. Number 11, he's going down the left-hand side this time. Nice inside pass into the box. The guy runs onto it, slots it past the keeper. 3-0.
Oh, nice.
Then 3 minutes into injury time, savage tackle to the left of the box gives Cows a free kick. Bit like their shot in the first half. A great hit towards the top right corner. Keeper has a go, but this time he can't get there, and it's 4-0. So literally, 3 goals from 89 minutes to 3 goals after that point. So that is why you should not leave
Leave
football
early.
games early.
Yeah.
You can miss a great deal. So it finished 4-0 to Cows. They deserve the win. Whether they deserve to win 4-0 is debatable, but they definitely deserve to win.
Yeah.
And I've just put at the bottom of this report, the ref was poor.
Yeah.
He was making. I mean, I was fair play to him. He used the sin bin when the sin bin was needed. And that's good.
Yeah.
And I always like to see that being used properly. It
Yeah.
was. The trouble was he didn't let the guy back on after 10 minutes. He was late letting back on. He made a couple of other silly decisions, the phantom corner among them. And yeah, but it was a good game. Good game.
Good.
And like I say,
Good.
4
Good.
goals in the end.
All right.
Yeah. So where do we go next?
So, next for me again was last Tuesday.
Yep.
Back at Tividale, at home this time, to Northwich Victoria. So, going into the game, Tividale 17th place on 18 points, Northwich Victoria in 16th place on 22 points. So 4 points between the two. Obviously, Tividale couldn't go past Northwich, but they could close the gap right up. But Northwich do have a game or two in hand as well, because their pitches where they moved to is worse than ours, and they've had more than us called off. So, yeah. Again, game was in a little bit of doubt Tuesday morning. I woke up to my weather app saying it's dry. Looked out the window, I'm like, doesn't look very dry. Maybe it's stopped raining now. Walked to the bus stop to get the bus to work, pulled my phone out in the pouring rain, looked at my app again. It's dry. I'm like, well, what's this coming out of the sky then? So then I was like, I don't trust you anymore because you're telling me it's dry all day. Well, it's clearly not. But anyway, it did eventually stop raining around about 11 o'clock. One of the corners was very heavy, but it passed the inspection and it was game on. So,
excellent.
Into the game, 5 minutes in, and there's a massive chance for Tividale. But somehow, from inside the 6-yard box, it's put over the bar.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then on 8 minutes, Northwich have a free kick right on the edge of the box, Tividale box on the left-hand side. It's a good free kick, hit over the wall, dips down, but it's a little bit too close and it skims the top of the crossbar.
Going for it then.
Yeah. So then on 15 minutes, again, Northwich got the ball down their left. It's a really good crossing from the left. Finds an unmarked man at the back post and he heads the ball past Lewis, who has absolutely no chance, and it's 1-0 to Northwich.
Oh, no.
Yay. And then on 17 minutes, so literally 2 minutes later, the ball over the top from Tividale. Jack Till gets there ahead of the keeper, lifts it over him, but the Northwich defender does really well to recover and clears the ball. Still on 17 minutes, so immediately from this, Northwich counted down the right. Ball flags into the box. A first-time shot, low, goes underneath Lewis, and it's 2-0.
Oh, no.
22 minutes, Northwich, again from the right-hand side. It's a long, what can only be described as a long punt forward.
Oh, yeah, one of them, yeah.
Yeah. Comes onto the head of Zach Coriano, the Tividale skipper, and he manages to loop a header over Lewis, and it's 3-0.
Oh, what?
Yeah. It's frustrating one from the goalkeeper's point of view, because I was behind and to the left of the goal, so I could hear everything that was going on. Lewis has originally shouted keepers, hasn't changed his mind. He stopped in his tracks, and I can only assume that he's lost the ball in the floodlight, so he's waiting before he overruns it.
Yeah.
Because the floodlights Tividale are awful overnight. You can lose the ball for a second or two. But during that time of Lewis stopping, somebody else is shouted away. Zach's assumed it's Lewis. Lewis has heard this and he's shouted keeper about another 4 times. He's literally gone keeper. But by that point, Zach's already jumped.
Oh, no.
And Lewis is caught in no man land. So, yeah, it goes down as a defensive error and a goalkeeping error.
Yeah.
It is. But it's not a defensive error from the point of the goalkeeper's done wrong or the defender's done wrong. It's the fact that of another third party who should not be making that call has got involved and caused it. My biggest bugbear as a goalkeeper, someone else making that call. It's like, no, the only person who makes that call is the goalkeeper. No one else shouts keeper. No one else shows away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
bit of a communication issue then. So,
yeah, not sure who made the call of away, but it definitely wasn't Lewis. And like I say, Lewis has realised that Zach's heard the away call, but he can't come out and clear Zach out of the way, and he can't get back onto his line in time. So he's like, I'm done. So 3-0. So that is 3 goals in 7 minutes and effectively game over. Anyway, it continued. The game continued, and then on 33 minutes, Northwich have a well-worked free kick, which ends with a looping effort which goes just wide of the goal. On 37 minutes, this kind of sums up our first half. Tividale have a shot which is blocked. It comes back off the forward and behind for a goal kick, so we don't even get a goal. And then a minute later, Tividale got the ball back. On the left-hand side, flash across the 6-yard box, but unfortunately, again, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, there's nobody in the yellow shirt there. And Northwich managed to clear it. And then on 42 minutes, is it's Northwich, sorry, my right is terrible, I really need to sort this out. Another great ball into the box from Northwich. It's just a little bit too high for the man coming onto it at the back post, and all he can do is flick it wide of the post. If it had been 6 inches lower, we were in trouble and it would have been 4-0. But as it was, he puts it wide, and it's Tividale 0, Northwich Victoria 3 at half time. Again, can't complain that we're behind. I think 3-0 is harsh. Started bright. Obviously, the 3 goals in 5 minutes kill you, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever it was. It just absolutely knocks the wind out of you. The lads kept going till the break. Created a couple of chances, but it's just we're chasing it, and Northwich set up solid. They got themselves into a low block and was solid. Second half, not really much to talk about. More of the same. 2 teams. Well, I'll say 2 teams. Tividale huffing and puffing, not getting anywhere. Northwich just holding what they've got, essentially. The first bit of action came on 70 minutes in the second half.
Right, okay.
Yeah, which was a shot from, it was down the far end. I think it was just outside the box. It's one of those efforts with dips and bounces right in front of the keeper. So Lewis can't quite hold it. All he can do is just get something on it. Unfortunately, the rebound falls to a Northwich player and it's 4-0.
Yeah. It's all the luck going against Tibby,
Yeah. And then on 80 minutes, things got a bit tasty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Northwich got a free kick on the edge of the box. It was a foul. Not going to argue. Well, I'm not going to argue because I can't see that far. Yeah, it was a foul. There's a bit of afters and argy-bargy and people throwing themselves around, and all I could see of the Northwich players found himself rolling around on the floor after a bit of coming together, confrontation after the foul. Next thing I know, there's a red card pulled out for Lewis Taylor boys. Tividale down to 10.
It just gets worse.
Yes. I am led to believe, and there's a number of people who have said this, that Lewis didn't actually touch him. It's one of those where Lewis has put his hand up.
Yeah.
And the player's gone as if he's been hit in the face when he actually hasn't, and he's rolled around the floor pretending he's hurt and he's not. So if that is the case, a little bit disappointed in the Northwich player, because there's no need to do it when you're 4-0 up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but at the same time, stupid from Boise because the referee was looking directly at it. So yeah, can't blame the referee because I can't see what she can see. She could see. If to her it looks like she has made contact, then she can only go off what she's seen. So that was that. And then on 87 minutes, pretty bad tackle right in front of the dugouts, and Jacob Burrows gets sent off for Tividale, so we're down to 9.
Oh, no.
There was a bit of afters involved in that as well. I was led to believe at the time it wasn't the tackle who we sent off; it was the afters. But since we've had it come through, they've committed it, confirmed it was dangerous and whatever it is. So it was for the tackle, which I'm not surprised at because it did look a little bit dangerous from where I was. That was a little bit closer, so I could see that. Yeah, so I can't complain with that red. It was a red card all day. Yeah, and that was pretty much it for the action. So for the second time in 4 days, Tividale lose 4-0.
Oh dear.
Very, very, very poor performance. Very disappointed in the performance. Disappointed with the attitude of some of the players after the game. Yeah, I'm not going to get too much into it. It's been dealt with by the club. So, well, the management, I should say. About the performance and her attitude and all that. So that's been dealt with. Not my place to do that. So, yeah. Do you have to say, though, I think the referee handled it well.
Yeah.
It's
good.
the female referee at the Stourport the other week. And if you remember, they said the only criticism I had on her that day, she could be a little bit more commanding. Saying that last Tuesday that actually she commanded the game pretty well. She doesn't need to be loud. She did command that game pretty well. And especially, like saying those last 10 minutes or so, that could easily have got away from her and it didn't. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Shit performance.
So that was your Tuesday.
Shit result. Yeah.
Oh dear. Yes, I mean, we aren't having the luck this year for definite. So
no, I mean, you talk about luck. There was, we didn't deserve any luck on Tuesday. We were awful. Fair play to Northwich. They came down. They wanted it. They've just had a new manager, so whether that's helping, new manager bounce. That was his second game in charge, so that put him 2 from 2. So clearly, Northwich have felt the change was needed, and it worked in those first 2 games. So fair play to him. I have to say, fair play to the fans as well. There was a fair few of them, probably about 40, 50 that made the journey down, which is a fair jaunt. I think about 100 mile from door to door.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we move on to this weekend.
We do indeed.
So Saturday, I was back into the United Counties Premier South.
Ooh.
One of my favourites. Quite a lot of those ones. And this was Bugbrooke St Michael, the small little villagey place just outside Northampton. They were sitting 10th in the table, and they were playing against St Neots, who were 4th going into the match. So St Neots up in the playoffs, looking to cement that place. Bugbrooke in 10th. Don't think they got enough of a chance to get into the playoffs from where they are now. I think it's beyond them, but they're well clear of relegation. They've got not an awful lot to fight for, to be honest. Having said that, they weren't gonna just lie down and be walked over. The game kicked off. 3 minutes in, Bugbrooke get a free kick, pretty much in the middle, about 30 yards out. Guy just lumps it over the wall towards the top left corner. Goes in 1-0 to Bugbrooke. So we're off to a flyer this time. Not like the midweek game where we can wait till the end for everything. We got a goal within 3 minutes this time. So that was good. A few minutes later, 11 minutes in, and St Neots have got a corner. It's poor delivery, easily dealt with. 5 minutes after that, Bugbrooke work it down the left. Nice 1-2, crossed it in, but too close to the keeper, who gathered it in quite comfortably. 18 minutes, St Neots right winger was released wide. He cuts inside, jinks past 2 defenders, gets a decent shot away, but the keeper is just equal to it and just tips it over. So 22 minutes, St Neots winger gets the ball in his own half, and he's off like a whippet, gets almost to the goal line before sending it across, but nobody could keep pace with him, and there's nobody in the box to finish it off. He was just too quick for his whole team. Right on the half hour, St Neots are still going for it. They go route one this time, ends up with a decent shot. The keeper gets down to him, parries, and his defender clears it for a corner, which once again is poor delivery from St Neots. They're never going to get anything out of set pieces. 35 minutes, dodgy challenge for St Neots resulted in a yellow card. But then it also resulted in a sin bin for Bugbrooke's number 10 because he was getting a bit too mouthy about it all, trying to get the guy sent off. So he ended up going to take a 10-minute break. So 2 games running and the sin bin's been used. Great. Love this. 42 minutes, St Neots trying to make the extra man count and get a good shot tipped over by the keeper. And the following corner was actually their best so far. And it was actually met by a header, which went just over. So after about 7 corners, they finally get one that actually was delivered well. 44 minutes, Bugbrooke have a free kick a long way out, taking advantage of the wind behind him. Meant the keeper had to make an important save to keep it at 1-0. Without the wind, that would have gone nowhere near the goal. It was a long, long way out. But the wind was blowing from one end to the other, and he just... Well, the wind took it, and the keeper had to make that save. So they go in at half-time 1-0. It's been pretty even. Both sides playing good football. The wind is definitely a factor, but so is St Neots' poor delivery from their corners. I have to say that throughout the half, the St Neots manager is very loud and shouty. He's got an opinion on everything. So loud and shouty was a good description for him. So we go into the second half. St Neots are still trying harder. They're trying a bit harder, even more harder than they're trying in the first half, but still getting nothing to show for it. And we're coming up to the hour. We go past the hour mark. 63 minutes. St Neots free kick, 22 yards out on the right, put into the area right on the penalty spot where their man is, and he heads it into the corner past the keeper, and it's 1-1.
Hey.
And that was about it. The last 25 minutes of the match was absolutely nothing to write home about. Nothing significant happened. Both teams seem to have settled for 1-1, and that's how it finished.
Fair enough.
So 1-1 draw. But I mean, for the first hour, it was a good match. The last half hour was just I could have fallen asleep. So.
No, fair enough. So I'm trying to find out where my next game starts because I've not left the gap I normally do. There it is. So that took me to Saturday then, I suppose. Again, Tividale at home again. Just like to point out, I think we've got 8 games left and 7 of those are at home, so there's going to be a lot of home games for Tividale coming up. So on Saturday we were at home to Lichfield City. Tividale obviously still in 17th position on 18 points, unfortunately. Lichfield up in 2nd place on 63 points. 3 points off the leaders Congleton with a superior goal difference, a game in hand. This was their game in hand. So had significant importance at both ends. Well, not so much at the bottom, because definitely at the top. Not so much at the bottom. I think we've done. I think we've done enough to say we're safe. Whether we get any on the table or not, now we'll see. But first 15 minutes, nothing really happened of note. It was 2 teams finding each other out. I think Lichfield are in that, knowing that this is their chance to go top. Didn't want to make any silly mistakes, so probably weren't seeing their fluid best going forward. Also, the pitch is a little bit heavy. They play on 4G, so that played into our hands a little bit as well. But the first thing of any note really came on 15 minutes with Tividale at a corner. Was whipped in dangerously. He went through everyone in a 6-yard box and behind for a goal kick. it was one of those where if it had a touch from anyone, whether it had been a Tividale or a Lichfield player, it probably would have ended up in the back of the net, unfortunately. From our point of view, it just went through everyone. 22 minutes, Tividale on the right played the ball behind the defence. Lewis Taylor Boyce, who was not suspended for the game, by the way, because it takes 7 days to come through, so he was eligible to play. Gets there ahead of the Lichfield keeper and lifts it over him, and it's 1-0 Tividale. So, completely unexpected. We're taking the lead.
All right, excellent. Yeah, there we
So
go.
yeah, a little bit of a shock. But no, I think I know the opening quarter of the game had gone. I think we deserved it. I think we were slightly the better team. Probably created more, and that was probably the first real chance of the game. So for once, instead of conceding the first chance of the game, we've scored it. That woke Lichfield up a little bit. So then on 26 minutes, they had a free kick out on the left, played into the box, header from the edge of the 6-yard box, comes back off the post, goes back into the 6-yard box, is cleared away, put back into the box. Lewis makes a good save low down to his left. He's back up to making another good save. So double save from Lewis keeps the score at 1-0.
Yep.
31 minutes, another free kick for Lichfield, in pretty much the same, an identical position. This time he's played a little bit deeper, and he's defended really well by Callum Gillis at the back post. He's probably put about 3 or 4 blocks in and managed to clear the ball away himself. Still 1-0 Tividale.
Yeah.
A minute later, Lichfield have a corner and free header from the edge of the 6-yard box is powered home, and it's 1-1.
Oh no!
Yeah,
just it was going so well.
Yeah, it's one of those. Lewis has come through it. He's been blocked off. It's not a foul. It's just been blocked off. And unfortunately, the Lichfield players managed to get there in front of him. If I'm being hyper critical of Lewis, he's come out. I think he took a step back as he's come out. Potentially, if he could have took a step forward, he potentially could have got there first. But like I said, that's being hypercritical.
Yeah.
It's a good header. It's a free header. It should never have been a free header, but it is a really good header. Yeah, and that, in all honesty, was pretty much it for the first half. Nothing else really happened, so we went in 1-1. Can't say it's not fair. We started brighter, scored when we were on top. Lichfield came back into it, scored when they were on top.
Yeah.
Massive improvement in the first 45 from what we seen Tuesday. So
yeah, sounds it.
Yeah, that's where we were at half time. And then 51 minutes. Jack Till, he's carrying the ball down the left for Tividale. He's chasing the ball down the left. A question of whether there's a foul as a defender kind of runs across, not looking at the ball, not even trying to get the ball because the ball's 10 yards in front, runs across and barges Jack out of play.
Right.
Anyway, regardless, Jack still manages to shake off the defender and get there first, then takes it to the byline, does go down a bit easily. That's not a foul. And then Lichfield counter and score, and it's 2-1. Stu is absolutely livid with the referee because he's like, well, is that not a foul? But I'm like, The first one is questionable. You see them given, you see them not given, so I've got no qualms with it not being given.
Yeah.
But I can see why Stu is saying, oh, is that not a foul? Referee, in all fairness to him, it's a long ball over the top, so he's playing catch up. And the best person to have seen it was his assistant because it was right on the touch line, so he's looking right down the line at it. So my question now was more directed to the linesman as to how is that not a foul. But as I say, you see them either way, so not too many complaints with that. But yeah, Lichfield,
one of those. It depends on which side of the fence you're sitting on as to whether you think it's a foul or not. So
yeah, putting my Tividale hat on, it's a foul all day. Putting my neutral hat on, it's yeah. You can't, you wouldn't complain either way if it was given or if it wasn't given. But the second one right on the byline, yeah, it definitely wasn't a foul. But yeah, anyway, 55 minutes. Tividale react well, in all fairness to them. They get a free kick out wide on the left. It's a good ball into the box. Jacob Burrows, who is your player who was sent off on Tuesday, is also not suspended yet because it was 7 days, so he's eligible. Manages to get a flick onto it. But unfortunately, there's not enough power or nobody in front of the keeper, and it carries through to the Lichfield keeper. On 56 minutes, there's then a cross in from the left from Lichfield, and a close range header forces a brilliant save from Lewis to tip the ball over the bar for the corner. It was a brilliant save. Okay. Pretty much point blank range, and somehow he's managed to tip it over the bar. And it's not the case of he's got lucky at it, he's reacted and he saved it. Yeah, he's a damn good save. Unfortunately, 57 minutes from that corner, the same player who scored in the first half scores again, and it's 3-1. Oh, yeah. It's too far for me for this one to comment. You know what my eyesight's like. It's down the other end. Yeah. All I've seen was the ball go into the box and then Reload is cheering. I'm like, yeah, that's good. Knew it was the same player, so that's all I can say. But again, it's a good reaction from Tividale, and 3 minutes later, Lewis Wright gets the ball just outside the box, bends an effort towards the far corner, but unfortunately it lands just the wrong side of the post. Mm-hmm. Then on 69 minutes, Lichfield with a shot from 30 yards forces flying towards the top corner. Again, forces another ball class save from Lewis Connor to tip it around his post. Yeah. So yeah, another really good save. Good. 76, I think that is. Tividale have a free kick just outside the box, probably about 2-3 yards outside the box. Yeah. I think it was Callum Gillis that stepped up. I can't remember. I'm sure I didn't write it down, but I'm sure it was Callum. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too close for him, and he can't get it up enough. And it hits the head of one of the players in the wall, and it's cleared away. And then in 94 minutes, Lichfield break, and are probably 3 or 4 on 1 with just on Lewis, and then there's a defender trying to chase back as well. Really should have been 4-1. They managed to get the ball past Lewis, then hit the ball towards the goal, and the Tividale defender has come from nowhere and saved the ball with his nuts. Oh. And it stayed 3-1
for the team.
Yeah, literally taking one for the team. But for all the world, it looked like it was going to be 4-1. Won't ever complain because, in all fairness, Tividale were pushing. It's one of those you leave yourself open, but it's just, the defender didn't give up, and he saved it with his nuts, and that's it. Finished. Tividale 1, Lichfield 3. Again, for us on Saturday, it wasn't about the scoreline; it was about the performance.
Yeah,
we went in that game expecting nothing from it. We just wanted a reaction from Tuesday night, and we got it.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like a much better performance.
Yeah. It definitely was. And like I say, Lichfield with that result go top of the league. I think they're 5 goals or 6 goals better off than Congleton. Luckily for us, Lichfield had 2 of our former forwards in there. 2 players you would have seen from that record season. That game against Bridge North, wherever it was. Dimitri Brown and Dan Smith playing up front together.
I remember Dimitri Brown, certainly. I remember that name. So.
Yeah, and his partner was Dan Smith. Yeah, I wasn't really around when Dimitri was, so I didn't get a chance to him. Got a chance to speak to Dan afterwards. Fortunately, neither of those scored because they usually both do when they come against us. But yeah, Dimitri came out the changing room. The first thing he said to Steve was, "You can't blame me this time. I didn't score." But yeah, Dan Smith, as I say, he's really good servant under Dave King. He was there for the entire 7 years, I believe it was. Right, lived in Stone at the time, so Lichfield makes more sense for him. He was only travelling to Tividale because of his loyalty to Dave. Once Dave stepped down, he's like, I'm going to go to Lichfield. Yeah, fair enough. A few people last season were saying, he's lost it. He hasn't got it anymore. He's a league top scorer this season, so I'm glad to see that he's bringing a few people on there.
Good.
But also have to commend him his commitment now as well, because he actually moved to Cardiff just after Christmas.
All right.
So he travels from Cardiff every weekend and every midweek to play for Lichfield. So yeah, I had a quick chat with him after the game. He is obviously moving on from Lichfield at the end of the season. He's going to be chatting to some of the Welsh Premier League sides, which is more than capable of playing at. It's not. I don't think there's that big of a difference in the quality. This is no disrespect to the Welsh Premier League. I just genuinely don't think there's that big of a difference. I think he'd fit in quite.
The top end players at this level, certainly. So.
Yeah, no, definitely, and Dan is definitely one of those top end players. I did tell him, if you can't get into the Welsh Premier League, I said, have a little look at Lanswick Major if you fancy a European adventure next year.
Good plan, yeah.
Yeah, and with him living in Cardiff, it's not that far from him, so
it's not. No, yeah, exactly. Could do that.
And he had issues with Newport as well. He said, "Takes me 2 hours to get here, and it takes me pretty much an hour to do the first 10 miles."
Yeah. Bloody Newport, it's a nightmare.
But just wanted to mention that because, like I say, Dan, really good servant for Tividale in the past. Glad to see he's had a really good season, and obviously to wish him all the best for the future. The only other thing to mention from Saturday was a referee. A chap I mentioned on here before, Guy Thrower, is one of the best referees around. I'm not going to lie, I like him, I respect him, I think he's a good referee. I was chatting to him beforehand anyway. I chatted to him on Twitter. I was like, look, I said, at least I know we're actually going to get a decent ref because we've had some stinkers lately. He said, don't say that. He said, because you know what's going to happen now, don't you? But yeah, I said, look, my major concern with referees at the minute is the dissent's going out of control again. And the time wasting things has gone out of the window already. He said, no, there's two things that I'm still shit on. I was like, good. Sent a message to Stu beforehand, said, Stu, Guy Thrower's a ref. He's told me he's shit hot on dissent. He doesn't care if it's the first minute or the last minute. If it's dissent, he uses the sin bin. About 10 minutes in, Stu's in his book for dissent. Can't sin bin the manager, so he gets the yellow. But yeah, I think he had a good game. Like I say, a couple of things where he's like, with my Tividale hat on, no. But with your neutral hat on, I can see why you'd get it. The only thing which he said to me, what I said to him after, he said, how do you think I did? I said, I think you did all right. I said, I can't really think of anything that stood out. I said, the only thing that I know you definitely got wrong was we had a throw-in. Ball was thrown, the wind was really strong. It never actually came in. He, at the time, assumed it did, signalled for a throw to Lichfield. Obviously, players have gone, hang on, it ain't coming. So he's gone over, spoke to his assistant, who's looking down the line. Bear in mind, he's looking literally down the line because that's his job. Yeah. And he said, no, he's a throw to Lichfield. I'm like, But as I said to him, I was like, that can't go against you because he was being assessed as well because he's going for promotion. I was like, I'm not being funny. I was like, yes, it's the wrong decision, but that's can't go on you because where you are, you're not going to see that. You've done the right thing and gone over to your assistant and said, has that come in? Yeah, it's a throw to Lichfield. And I'm like, I'm blind and I can see that didn't come in. So yeah, like I say, it's that wasn't. I can't see the assessor marking that the guy down for that. That would be the assistant. But yeah, in general, pretty good and refreshing because, like I say, he's an ex-Marine, so he controls the game well as well. Yeah, he naturally demands. Well, not demands. He naturally earns respect because of his. Just because of the way he conducts himself. Yeah. But yeah, that was that.
Good, excellent, and that concludes the match reports for this week.
Yep, it does. Finally. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I think, like I say, we're not going to go. What's the word I'm looking for? In depth into something this week.
No.
we're just going to touch on the fact that it was non-league day
It was, yes.
on Saturday just gone, so the 23rd. So your Bugbrooke St Michael's and St Neots game and my Tividale Lichfield game.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, I'm sure you all do listen to a non-league podcast. But for those of you that don't know, non-league day, usually this international break every season, sometimes it can be September or October, whenever it is, the international break in the early in the season.
Yeah.
And it's a day where focus is put onto non-league football. You're supposed to highlight non-league football, non-league clubs, what they do in their local community, and try to encourage those that wouldn't normally attend to attend because there's an international break. So naturally, you would like to think and would hope for boosted attendances.
You would hope so. But that depends how much effort clubs put into actually promoting the idea in their local areas.
Yeah. Now, I've been promoting non-league day since mid-February, so probably 6 weeks before the actual day. I spoke to Leon. I was like, can we do something to try and attract season ticket holders for Premier League and AFL clubs? He went, yeah, because if adults produce a valid evidence of a valid season ticket for any Premier League or Football League club, they get in for the concessions price. So instead of £7, it's £4. Like, yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was tweeting that out pretty much every week leading up to it, and then a bit more often in the week. Well, every day, certainly from after the Northwich game, because I didn't want to take the focus away from the games that were coming up as well. But I just wanted to put it out there.
Exactly, yeah.
So we average about 88 anyway. All that hard work resulted in an attendance of 98.
And do you know if any of them were season ticket holders from other clubs and took advantage of the deal? No idea.
No, no. We had nobody take up the offer.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The attendance at Bugbrooke was pretty poor as well. I reckon it was around about 50 to 60, if that. But
yeah. But you did say you didn't really notice anything with that as well.
Didn't notice anything about any information about non-league day or anything. Whether they'd done anything leading up to it, I don't know. But there didn't appear to be any focus on it. I know some clubs go real overboard and put on all sorts of events and things, but not the ones I went to. So.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've been promoting it quite early. Non-league day, we reposted my tweets. They liked my tweets, so they were helping out where they could. Yeah. Prostate UK is the charity partner as well. We got a load of material from them. I was tagging them in everything I tagged them in, they retweeted, so they were helping as well.
Yeah.
So from my point of view, there wasn't really much else I could have done.
No.
The club didn't really do much. I'm not going to say, but social media isn't in the hands of who it used to be in the past. So that's from that. The club were just reposting my posts, but I think, well, yeah, that's fair enough. But I've got 200 and odd followers, 300 followers compared to your 5,000. Surely it helps, even if you quote tweet it rather than just reposting it. Just quote the tweet saying, "Take advantage of this offer" or whatever. And sometimes because it's coming from my account, people could be thinking, well, is this a genuine offer? I've not seen anything from the club.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I say, just maybe a quote tweet. They could have gone, look, just take advantage of this offer we're doing for non-league day, something like that, maybe. Yeah, like I say, 98, it's not a terrible attendance for us.
No.
Certainly better than one we had a couple of years ago, which I did a massive post on my blog about when we had 37 on non-league day. Yeah. So we've come a long way since then.
Yes, definitely.
But also, I think that attendance on Saturday had a lot to do with the fact we're playing Lichfield. They brought a fair few with where they are in the league and what they could potentially have gone top.
Yeah.
Biggest disappointment for me, about 6 weeks before the game, I sent an email to Aston Villa, Wolves, Birmingham, and West Brom. Didn't include Walsall at the time because at the time their game hadn't been cancelled. I only found out it had been postponed on Saturday. I thought it was still going. And said to them, look, non-league day's coming up. There's obviously I'm a part of one of the teams in your area. Are you doing anything to promote it in the area? If so, what do you want from us? If you're not thought about it yet, is it possible to get an advert on the big screen, advert in the programme, an announcement at half time before your games to say, look, it's non-league day on this day. It's taking nothing away from you. You don't have a game, so you're not losing out. We're doing this offer. Can you promote it for us? Not one of those clubs got back to me in those 6 weeks. Looking through their social medias, I haven't seen too much. I've only had a quick look. I haven't seen anything, in all honesty. I haven't seen anything on the website, so that's disappointing. Considering they're supposed to be promoting this, like I say, it's no disadvantage to them. They haven't got a game, so they're not losing out.
No, exactly.
So,
oh dear. So, I mean, something if we're going to continue with this. So there's non-league day in future years. Something more needs to be done with it. Some real efforts need to be done from the top clubs and the Football League and the Premier League, as well as from the non-league clubs promoting it themselves. They can't do it all on their own. If the Premier League clubs and the Championship clubs would get behind supporting local teams as well, it would be really useful. So.
Like I say, if I'd thought, oh shit, last minute I'll contact him, then fair enough. But the fact again that I contacted him 5, 6, 7 weeks before the fact. And then it got to, I think it was last Thursday, and I still had nothing. So I literally put a quote tweet. Oh no, they're not called tweets anymore, but I still call them tweets. A quote tweet of the offer. Literally calling the club out saying I contacted all of you 6 weeks ago. Not one of you is responding. It's now 2 days away. All I'm asking for is a retweet. It's not hard. It takes 1 second, costs you nothing. It got 1 retweet.
It
wasn't from any of them. It was actually from 1000gbp.com.
Oh, right. Okay,
which is okay. Again, they got a fair few followers, so but still, it's something as simple as that. The big clubs can't be bothered to do.
I know, it's just depressing.
And I had a little bit of come back from non-league day a couple of years ago when I called out the same clubs because they're like, oh yeah, when I said, well, I've seen nothing from them, blah blah, and now non-league day actually came back to me and said, actually, all of those clubs did promote it with the exception of Aston Villa because the women had a game. And I was like,
right,
well, okay, if that's the case, fair enough, but I'm not seeing anything.
Where are they promoting it? How
are they promoting it? How are they promoting it? And regardless of the fact if the women have got a game or not, that's not the point. How many of the Aston Villa men's season ticket holders go and watch the women anyway? It's still not hard. Oh yeah, our women are playing, but also it's non-league day, so here's a list of local non-league games.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It wouldn't take much, would it? So
no. But I did a comment. I tagged non-league day into a post a couple of weeks ago saying if you were, do you know if they're doing anything? And I said, as of yet, no, but we've got something in the pipeline. Watch his space, and no. So I might ask them again actually to see if they actually did anything in the end, and if they did, what did they do? Because I'm not like I say, I'm not seeing anything. No. But yeah, anyway, that's that because it's something.
Oh, well.
As you can tell, it's something that does me.
yeah, I can see why as well. It's very annoying that. There we go. Anyway, were there any big scores this week?
There were 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There was 11.
That's a lot. Go for it.
Yeah. So obviously, again, just steps 1 to 4. So we've got Barnet 6, Dorking 0. Radcliffe 2, Ashton United 5. Matlock 1, Whitby Town 5. Gainsborough Trinity. Gainsborough Trinity 4, Workington 2. Potters Bar 6, Kingstonian 1. Quorn 7, Russian and Diamonds 1.
Oh, that's a big result.
Yeah. Staley Bridge Celtic 4, Widnes 3.
Yeah.
Ramsgate 7, Lancing 2.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yep. East Grimstead 1, Burgess Hill 5.
Mm-hmm.
New Salamis 5, Stowmarket 1. And finally, Ware 4, Bedford 2.
Good old Ware.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a big
nice
score.
scores. Yeah, 7-2 down on the south coast. That's good, isn't it?
Yep, and 7-1 in vegetarian/vegan land.
Oh yeah.
I don't actually know if that's where it comes from. It just always makes me think of it.
I'm not sure whether it does or not. I can't always remember. I'm sure I've known at
Yeah,
some
no.
point.
Oh yeah, I swear
Yeah.
I have googled it at some point, but I can't remember myself.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So, so
So
bring it on to
what
the news.
up to the news? Yeah, what's hit the headlines?
So bear in mind, a couple of weeks worth. I've not picked up everything, just a couple of the standout things for me. I'll try and do this in order of what happened last week and what happened this week, but it's all over the place in my notes. So, first thing is from last weekend, so the 16th of March last weekend. Bishop's Stortford were the first team to have a relegation confirmed and were relegated from the National League North.
Yeah.
In the run up to that week, I believe it was, Torquay were docked 10 points after going into administration. That dropped them to 17th place in the table, just 3 points above the drop zone. Since then, they have won a game. I can't remember who it was against, but they are currently, they're still in 17th place, but they're now 5 points above the drop zone. Neil Warnock is getting involved, as I believe he managed them in the past.
All right.
But he's getting involved, trying to get potential investors on board to save the club. Anything else? Hang on, let's have a quick look through. See if there's anything else from the week before. Oh, it was FA Cup weekend the week before. So quickly, just to result in the draw. So it's quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So from those we had Wolves 2, Coventry 3, which is a little bit of a shock. Man City 2, Newcastle 0, Chelsea 4, Leicester 2, and Man United 4, Liverpool 3. That then obviously led to the draw for the semi-final taking place, which has put Man City against Chelsea and Coventry against Manchester United. And those semi-finals will take place the weekend of the 20th of April. And both will be held at Wembley.
I believe, aren't they? So.
Yeah, they are, yes. And I believe, actually, some train strike dates have just been announced, and I believe that might actually be that weekend again.
Yeah, that would be usual.
Yeah,
certainly.
it sounds about right. And it's affecting the London Overground as well, so could be interesting.
Lovely.
The only team that doesn't really affect is Chelsea. With obviously the two Manchester clubs in Coventry. So, yeah, if that's the case, move them to Villa Park, I say.
Yeah, absolutely. Just shift them.
Yeah, move them all to Villa Park. Let the London fans suffer for once. They earn more money, they can afford to get there.
Absolutely. I think
but yes, just also briefly, quickly related to that, currently, I can't remember the exact date, but if Coventry were to get to the playoffs and get to the playoff final, the current Championship playoff final is scheduled for the day after the FA Cup final, so that might have to be revisited by the FA.
I'm sure it would do for that. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit stupid of the FA in the first place because they're kind of saying, "Oh, no Championship side good enough to get to the FA Cup final."
It's happened more often than not in recent years. It certainly happens.
Yeah, it's not unheard of, but it's yeah. And then the final thing,
of Portsmouth and Millwall in recent years, and Wigan.
Portsmouth were in the Premiership at the time.
Portsmouth, were they?
Yeah, they were the only Premiership title because the semi-finals were us against Portsmouth. We were in the Championship, they were in the Premiership, and it was Cardiff against Barnsley, and they were both Championship as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was 3 Championship and 1 Prem in the semi-final. They were the sole survivors of the Premier League and went on to win it.
Yeah.
Bastards. So the final thing from last weekend, Russian and Diamonds played Lie. Highlights of which you can see on -71.
Yeah.
I believe the final score was 4-0 to Lie. Might have been 3-0. It was 3 or 4-0. But that's not the reason it made the news. It made the news because Russian and Diamonds signed a keeper that morning, an emergency signing. I can't remember his name. I think it's Louis or Levi. I can't tell you his last name. Saturday night, he had his contract terminated for headbutting a fan after the game.
Oh, great.
So, so on the face of it, it's like, well, okay, yeah, fair enough. What the hell's the keeper doing?
Yeah.
But I've seen he's released an apology, which is you'd expect, and blah blah blah. Fair play to him for releasing the apology. So yeah, I was in the wrong, shouldn't have done it. But then within those comments, there's some Russian and Diamonds fans in the comments saying, in all fairness, you warned the fan, because apparently, obviously I wasn't there. But from those comments, there was a group of a few. I've got 5 or 6 in my head, but it could have been 3 or 4 Russian and Diamonds fans who was like getting into his face, giving him a bit of abuse. He asked them to move away, told him to move away. One got into his personal space. He felt threatened, so headbutted him to get out of the way. So, yeah, probably not the right thing to do.
No.
Probably a shove in the chest. Probably you could defend more. But also, if he fears for his safety, he's in a new environment, doesn't know what those fans are like, or doesn't know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
It can kind of understand the reaction to an extent. And there was actually fans calling for the club to take action against those so-called fans that are surrounding him and abusing him as well.
Yeah, definitely should do, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing how quickly a story's changed once you get the other half of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Every story's got 2 sides. So.
Yeah. That then brings us on to this week's news. We'll start with some good news. 2 bits of good news. Well, one I know for certain. Chesterfield could have won the National League last Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. All they had to do was at least draw away at Halifax. Unfortunately, Halifax hadn't read the script and decided to beat them 4-2. So it went to this weekend. Boreham Wood, I think they didn't have to win if Barnet failed to win. It was Barnet or Bromley. It was one of the 2.
Yeah.
But if Chesterfield could have won the league by losing, even if they'd lost, if Barnet and or Bromley, whichever one it was, had lost, failed to win. Sorry, as it was, they didn't need to rely on others because they stuffed Boreham Wood 3-0, and it was actually job done by half time because I believe it was 3-0 at half time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chesterfield promoted from the National League.
Yeah,
as
they
champions.
didn't want to get promoted away from home on Wednesday, did they? They wanted to get promoted in front of their own fans on Saturday. Of course they did.
No, definitely. And it made me laugh. I don't know if you've seen the picture of the fan who's walking away with the board, the Vanarana National League 23-24 champions, Chesterfield FC. He's managed to nick the board and just took it home with him. And then I haven't spotted this, but Farnham Town, I believe you said they've wrapped up their league as well.
I was going to mention that. If you didn't, I was going to mention that they've clinched their league championship as well. So,
they have been beaten now, I believe.
I believe then, yes, something like that.
I did see it a few weeks ago, and I forgot to note it down. I think their winning streak was 25 games, which is a record for the league, and for the step, I believe, as well. That wasn't 25 games unbeaten as in wins and draws. That was 25 wins before they were beaten. So that's them going.
Combined Counties Premier South is the division. Let's just have a look. Site. Agree, proceed. Table. There's the table. That's Farnham Town. Yes, yeah, they're at well clear. That's it. So
Yeah.
They've won. Hang on. If you can review a fuel table here.
Yep.
Home 13 wins out of 13. No, they haven't lost. They are still unbeaten. 27 wins, 2 draws.
Oh, who was it? I saw. I swear they tweeted all it. They lost. Oh well. Obviously, me
No,
dreaming
so
show.
that's the table on the Combined Counties League website. So one
Okay,
would
fair
presume
enough.
that's up to date. So
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, congratulations, Ireland. Still unbeaten by the looks of it. Still 100% by the looks of it.
Yeah. Well, not
So yeah,
100% because they've drawn 2, but they're still
maybe
unbeaten.
that's
So
what it was
still
then.
invincible. Yeah,
Maybe their winning streak came to an end.
yeah, maybe. But
Maybe
yeah,
that's
2
what I
draws.
saw. Yeah.
It's still an invincible season so far, but they have still got 9 games to go.
Ooh, interesting.
But they are 4. I mean, the second place team are 16 points behind and have played 4 games more than them. So they ain't catching up.
Yeah, no,
So
definitely not. Yeah. So yeah, congratulations to both Chesterfield and Farnham.
yeah.
So then, back in the news this week, Northwest Counties Football League. Nothing bad this time. They are seeking clarification from the FA regarding how many teams they need to relegate from Step 6.
Yeah.
This is because before the start of the season, Ellesmere Rangers resigned from the First Division South. Although they resigned prior to the season, they were members at the time of the AGM, so they weren't removed from the league. They're just going to show automatically at the bottom on 0 points.
Right.
So technically, they're being relegated.
Yeah.
So they then need clarification on how many teams they need to relegate. One when from Division South, that is the First Division South. When Ellesmere resigned, they moved Droylsden from the First Division North into the First Division South. Now, the FA see this as an internal move, so it doesn't affect relegation from First Division North. So it'd still be 3 teams that face relegation from that division. So yeah, looks like it's just they want clarification whether they're going to relegate Ellesmere 2 more from the First Division South or Ellesmere +3. I would imagine it'll be Ellesmere +2. But
Yeah,
you never know.
Like
You never know with the FA. And then one of the teams of our big scores, New Salamis, they have released a statement saying that their first team will be folding at the end of the season.
All right.
Yeah. Currently playing in the Isthmian League, which is Step 3.
It's either 3 or 4. Depends whether they're in the Premier or one of the Division 1s.
I didn't clarify. I think it's Step. I think there could be Step 4 because it's one of the last games I've picked up on big scores.
They are,
But yeah, they have stated that they're unable to stay in the finances that are required to continue, so they're folding the team at the end of the season.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is, again, a shame.
It is. I've seen them play, so I saw them lose, actually, so that's fine.
Yeah. And just before I move on to this last thing, whilst we're on finances and non-league clubs, I forgot to write this down, but the government announced last week there's going to be that independent regulatory body for the football. Seems like a good move. It is a good move for the Championship, League One, League Two, and then National League, but that's as far as it goes. Again, I'm not going to slack it off because more Premier League money does need to trickle down to those leagues.
Yeah.
But you're only securing your survival of your professional leagues. The National League are a little bit miffed because they're like, well, we've got professional teams in National League North, National League South.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Like I say, it's a positive step in the right direction,
Yeah,
but
not far enough.
it needs to include all the way down to step 6.
Yeah,
Else, you're not
okay.
going to have teams to feed into your football league in a few years' time.
No, exactly.
Or the golf is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just a quick touch on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Phoenix Trophy.
Yeah.
Enfield played Lantwick last week at Enfield.
Uh-huh.
Enfield won. I couldn't find a tweet in time. I think it was 3-2.
No, I saw they'd won, but I didn't see the score.
It was either 3-1 or 3-2, but that pretty much wraps up the
That pretty
group.
much confirms that Enfield are through. Yeah.
Yeah. So that confirms Enfield and FC United and Manchester are both going to Italy.
Yeah.
I think Lewis are pretty much there as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure of the other group with the 3 overseas teams. I'm not really kept an eye on it. But yeah, so again, we've confirmed that at least 2 British teams will be in those finals, which is good.
Yeah.
And then the final thing I wanted to touch on this weekend is I sent you some highlights earlier.
You did? I watched them, yes.
It was Faversham Town versus Rusthhall.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you think what I might want to discuss from the game?
There was an incident towards the end.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
There is that. Also the penalty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just for a bit of context of the game, Faversham versus Rusthhall, I'm not sure what step it is, I haven't looked. It's step 5, is it? Or 4? Do you know?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know because I never looked.
Yeah, no, did I? The thing I did forget to send you was the interview with the Faversham manager afterwards.
Right.
But yeah, so context of the game, Faversham were 2-0 up after I think it was 12 or 13 minutes.
Yeah, it was quite early on. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 2-1 at the break.
Sounds familiar.
But before the first goal, there was a penalty given to Rusthhall.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Faversham manager wasn't happy with it because the linesman initially pointed for a corner, which you can see in the highlights he did.
Yeah.
Then the referees come over and spoke to him for whatever reason for giving a penalty. Penalty was saved, so they felt justice was done. Can't see from the highlights whether it was handball or not. You can see it's hit his arm, but you can't see if it's intentional or where his arm is because it's on the blind side of the camera.
Yeah. It was a difficult one to tell, but you can see how they might have got to that decision. Certainly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the point I wanted to make with this was, I don't know, you might not have noticed this, but I naturally do notice things like this because of playing in goal. If the linesman's had a stinker and awarding a penalty, he's also had a stinker with allowing that save to stand.
Exactly, he's well off his line.
Yeah, he's jumped. He's not even if he's level when the ball's kicked, he's jumped in his feet. He's got to have at least a part of one of his feet on the line, and there's no part of his feet on the line because he's in midair. So swings on roundabout might not have been a penalty, but he definitely should have been the save shouldn't have been allowed to stand either. So I think overall, if he was two wrongs have made a right in this situation.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Then Rusthhall leveled things up with, I would say, it was a good goal. Good half volley. Yeah. And then comes the controversy.
Yes.
Not sure how late in the game it was, but it was pretty late by the looks of it. A Faversham player has been given a red card for what you describe as a high foot. I'm assuming you had the sound on.
I did.
Could you hear the fans?
I couldn't tell what they were saying.
So they're saying he stooped down, ref. He stooped down. That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
that's right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I have to say, on first viewing, I didn't think he had stooped down.
I didn't think he's certainly not stooped down far enough to make it
Yeah.
an accident.
Yeah. I went back and watched it another couple of times, and he's not stooped down at all. What right decision?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was definitely a dangerous sort of tackle.
Yeah. Now, what I didn't send you, which I will send you in a minute, is the photo of the player who was on the receiving end afterwards.
Oh, right.
So to see it from, obviously the referee didn't react to the injury either, because he's pulled the card out before he checked on a player on the ground.
Yeah,
which I liked.
Yeah.
Because like I say, when we were at the Stabley teaching game, the referee reacted to the injury to the player.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. So he definitely hasn't reacted to the injury. He's gone off what he's seen initially, which I liked. At the time, I thought red card. Watching it the first time,
I did too. Watching it in full speed first time round, I thought, definitely.
Which obviously the referee doesn't have the luxury of watching it back like I have a couple of times, and I assume you probably have as well. I still think it's a red card, and after seeing the damage, it's definitely a red card. At best, it's careless.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely dangerous, and it's endangered the player. His boot and studs have made contact with the face of the opponent. If it had been a foot lower, you could argue it's a yellow card, but again, wouldn't argue if it was a red. But yeah, so the update from the player, I think he's a player's partner who's put the pictures on. You can see there's a big gash right by his right eye. He's had 30 stitches.
Bloody hell.
2 laser surgeries and something else because there were tears in his retina to stop his retina detaching.
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
And I think he was very fortunate not to lose a sight in his right eye. So definitely a red card.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I mentioned it is in that interview, which I didn't send you, the Faversham manager, because I don't know if you noticed as well when it popped up at the end, Faversham actually had 3 players sent off.
Oh, right. I didn't.
But the highlights only showed 1.
Yeah.
But apparently they're going to appeal all 3. Now, how they can appeal this one, I have absolutely no idea.
No, I don't think they'll get very far with that one.
No, the video evidence isn't going to support them. Yeah, I don't know if he hadn't seen it back at that point, but I would like to think that perhaps they've watched it back and since seeing it and thought, yeah, maybe we don't want to repeal this one.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a right decision. I genuinely don't think there was any intent from the player there.
No, I think there's very rarely any intent, but sometimes you're just bloody careless and dangerous.
Like I say, for me, it's careless, but unfortunately, it's endangering his opponent and it's dangerous. But why are you putting your foot that high in the first place?
Yeah,
it's not.
That's a very good point. So.
Because the Rusthhall players jumped as well. He's not running, and he's running along the floor. He's actually jumped to win the header.
Yeah.
So I know. Well, I know from watching it looks like the Faversham player hasn't seen him coming.
Yeah.
Which I would like to think he hasn't, given what he's done with his foot. But
even so, if you're going to put that foot high, you're asking for trouble, aren't you? So.
Yeah, his foot is a good 4, 5, 6 feet off the ground. Which and then for someone to turn around and say he's stooped.
That's just bad.
Yeah. But so there was three red cards for Faversham. Don't know what the other 2 were. Haven't seen them. conveniently left out of the highlights, I suspect.
Yeah.
There was also another penalty for Rusthhall, which was also not in the highlights, so we can't comment on that one either. So yeah, that's that. There was one other game which I've completely lost. I found it on Twitter. I thought I bookmarked it, but I hadn't. It was abandoning deep into injury time with 3 minutes of injury time still left, because one of the teams had 4 players sent off and 2 members of the management. So 6 red cards in total. And the statement from the opposition was the match was abandoned due to the officials fearing for their safety.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The tweet from the offending team, we'll refer to him in this situation, I can't remember who it was match has been abandoned. No idea why. We'll update you when we know. I didn't see an update from them. But yeah. So yeah, that's the news.
Excellent. There you go.
Yep.
That's this week.
Yes.
Yeah,
We got there.
Yeah, we got that. Job done.
Thanks for bearing with us. Long one. Sorry. Wasn't expecting it to be this long.
No, it just went that way in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a 2 weeks worth of news. It's done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Very quickly then, I suppose, plans for this week. If
Don't
any.
know. Well, it's Easter weekend next weekend, so there'll be a lot of football on, isn't there? So
yeah,
I mean, sort of like Good Fridays and Easter Mondays and bits and pieces. So I'll certainly get to one game over the weekend, maybe 2 even. Who knows? But no plans for midweeks this week, so we'll just see what happens.
Cool. So weather dependent. I think we due a bit of rain. We had some overnight today, but the youth team have played tonight, so that's promising. I think I think it's scattered showers again, but it depends on the time of those showers, because that's what it's down to at the minute. If they're timed wrong, it gets called off. But hopefully tomorrow night, surprisingly, Tividale are at home. To Whitchurch Hallport, who are, I think, 2 places above us, maybe 3, and about, I think it's 11 points in front of us now. So they'll just be looking to close the gap on those and the rest above us. And then Saturday, we're at home again to Stone. Stone Old Olympians, I think the proper name is. They're kind of getting dragged back into the bottom again. No danger of being relegated, but nice to close the gap up on those.
Yeah.
Theoretically, we have a game. Well, theoretically, we do have a game next Monday, Easter Monday, to Wolverhampton Casuals. That is our last away game of the season. Whether I go to that or not, I don't know. With it being bank holiday Monday, I'll see. Not particularly fan of their ground. It's very basic. Not a lot to do. We get there early anyway, so there's nothing around it other than Featherstone Prison. Might go and see if I can get a point at the prison. If not, So I don't know if I'm going to go to that. So I could have 3 games. I might have 2.
Yeah.
Might only have 1 depending on the weather. Might have none depending on the weather. We'll see when we get there. But that's
see what happens. Yeah. Cool.
Right.
Let's sign off for tonight and reconvene next week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. Speak to you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.